Hello and welcome to Science Mr. Robertson Time. We are going to look at the ear today and learn about how we use these for our hearing. And firstly, not just us. Hearing is something that can be done by lots of different animals. They can sense their surroundings by having ears. Our ears, we have two of them, and it's like our eyes. They help with our 3D perception of where things are. Usually it is going to be two ears. So we can hear, then if something's in that direction, it's noise. Then the time in between when they get to my ears can tell me where that actually is. So having two ears is really, really helpful. We have quite good ears. We have this shape here, which helps to capture the sound and bring it in. Some animals have even bigger ears because their hearing is more sensitive. A rabbit, for example, has bigger ears to catch more sound. But we have these ears, and they're fantastic. They're not the same as every other living thing, though. Where's my book? For example, so we, as humans, we can hear anything from a 20 hertz to 20,000 hertz range, about. That's how low. So this here, the sound vibrates 20 times per second. That's a really low sound. Like lower than that. That kind of low, really deep sound. 20,000 hertz is so high, I can't hear it. You, assuming you're students in my year 5 class, probably can hear it. This is super high. Super high. 20,000 times every second, it's making the air vibrate. That is really high sound. However, we can't hear this as we get older. The higher sounds are harder to hear. Remember, the ear works with vibrations. Sound is vibrations. I have a sound here, and then all the movement moves every air particle into each other. The high sound makes faster vibrations, and when I get old, I can't do it very fast. I get slower and slower. So I can't hear the super high sounds anymore. I can't hear also the very quiet sounds. Because the quiet sounds need very little vibrations. And I can't do that anymore. But the big vibrations, of course, they can still be heard. So quiet sounds, high sounds, are very hard for old people. Very, very, very hard. The ears are not just for hearing, though. They also have another job. And you all know this because you've all done this. They help to control your balance. The ears have in them a liquid, vätska. And you know if I have a liquid and I spin it around, it's going to move. So it goes, whee, and the liquid goes and flows around like a big bucket of water. So if I move it this way, all the water would go onto the other side. Having that liquid inside the ear helps to control my balance. That's the signal to my brain, and if it's all going this way, the brain's like, ooh, you need to balance this way. And your brain works out where you are so you can stand up straight. If you make it go too fast, the brain's like, what's going on? There's too much information. And you get dizzy. So it helps with your balance that the motion of the liquid in the the motion, if you keep the ears moving, just inside here, that little bit there has a liquid. That's going to move around and help with our balance control. How that gets to the brain is through an electric signal. And all the ear inside, if I have, here's my big ear, here's my ear, one of my best ever drawings, there's my ear. Then I have a very, very thin ear drum here, very thin. Be very careful, because if that gets broken, then it cannot do its job of vibrating. It's a drum. It wants to vibrate. And then I've got those very three small bones here that pass on more vibrations. And then there's little hairs in this section, and they convert it into an electrical signal. So all of that fantastic work for the vibrating is then these tiny little hairs change the vibrating into an electrical signal, which of course goes to the brain. So our brain can understand what noise has been made. And of course, you know, you're listening to this, it happens very, very quickly. The one problem I have with my ears is that if I'm ill, they get all stuffed up. There is another tube down here with both ears that goes to the nose, and that's to control the pressure, the air pressure, lufttryck. Because under vibrahöra you will have the samma lufttryck. I want it to be the same pressure that is happening, and that this can't work like so. One tip you can actually have if you think, if you're on a plane, it's a great example, because the pressure, if you go up, there's less air. So the pressure sometimes gets stuck in your ears because there's more pressure in here than outside. And you're like, oh, my head hurts. You need to push that pressure out. I usually hold my nose and and try and push some of that air out. And usually I feel better. You want to try and move that air so the amount of air inside and outside the ear is balanced. Ears are important. Being able to listen and see, both those senses give you so much information about the world. They need to be looked after because these sections inside the ear, it's the smallest bones, it's the thinnest material for the eardrum. They need to be looked after and be kept very safe. Think about that. Take care.